Sampras 1-0 in the second. Agassi's #2 in the world now, but he's beginning to look at the #1 ranking, and why not?
To be #1 in the world, you have to be #1 in the world in your mind and in your heart, you know. Week after week, even if I can make a move to #1 before I have to start defending my points, it doesn't mean all of a sudden now I've arrived, you know. It's still a question of achieving all your dreams. And #1, I've always said, it's just it just comes with it, you know. If you're doing what you should be doing, you'll get to #1.
It's not an impossible dream anymore for Agassi, is it? 15 love. Sampras leading 1-0. Agassi won the first set.
And again, working the backhand until he got something short.
He gets it in the hitting zone, doesn't he? That one's not quite there. He's got to come from low to high. This one's pretty short. Watch where he smacks this one from. Round about his hitting zone is round about between waist and chest high, and that's where he punishes the ball. This is the cameraman caught this one as Agassi reversed a 360 after a fault was called.
That was a nice one. A knifing backhand from Sampras allowed him to get into the court. He worked it well.
The winners and errors there from Sampras 16, Agassi 7, and unforced errors Sampras 13, Agassi 7. So Agassi's played a cleaner match at the moment, although more winners there from Sampras. He hasn't got the scores on the board for them. Agassi with his one white sock and one black sock. Cameras have been catching that all week here at the tournament. They asked him why he did it, and his direct answer was, "I like it." That was it. Rudy Berger in the chair with a caricature of Agassi behind him.
Game point Agassi.
I like the quote when he sends them to the laundry, they all come back in pairs again. He's got to switch them up again.
Agassi holds on, 1 game all.
Look where Sampras was to get that forehand. He was probably about 20 feet behind the baseline and 20 feet wide of the sideline. Tough to do anything with a forehand from that position in the court, and Agassi pulled him out there and continues to do so on both forehand and backhand side by creating that heavy topspin that takes him wide out of court.
Sampras has still not had a chance at Agassi's serve. No break points.
Starting to pick up his serve, though, which is a good sign. 12 aces now.
Still only at 54%, though.
Again, I don't think for him to be shooting for 70%, yeah. That's just not going to happen. It's the quality of his serve that is really going to count for something.
Sampras actually has only had 1 break point against him, and Agassi won it first game of the match. That is a brilliant shot, no less.
He looked over at Gilbert and said, "Hey, I can do it all today." That's what happens when you're confident. I mentioned you're seeing the ball so well. You've got so many options on this because there's just no pace on that shot from Sampras. Sampras moves in to cover the net, to blanket the net either down the line or cross-court. Look, Agassi holds it to the last minute and then just lifts it up gently and softly with a little topspin into the corner.
He's so fit. He's moving so hard to the ball that he opens up his options.
Oh, he got it. No, he didn't. There was no signal, and then there was a late signal. Look at this again.
It's an unbelievable shot. He knows he's so far out of court, and that's the one that Sampras sort of tried the last game. Agassi, look at this. Nearly takes the let court judge's head off. Barely misses, although a very close one.
Sampras holds on, no break, second set yet. 2 games to 1 first set. After 1 break in the first game to Agassi, 6-4. Still in the hunt for a bowl game itself. That's tonight at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 4:30 on the West Coast. Agassi serving, trailing in the second set, but on serve.
.70 serve, right where he wanted it. At 106 miles an hour.
$15 all.
Sampras is not used to somebody chasing down some of his big swinging shots. They're coming right back at him. He's hitting his running forehand, which usually ends points for Sampras.
He nearly overran that last forehand, didn't he? Because he knew Agassi was going to try and find the angle, and he nearly overran it and hit the top of the tape on his forehand.
Again, Agassi's foot speed, I think, is pressuring Sampras.
15-30. Agassi's nose out front on Sampras's nose out front on Agassi's serve, but that ace levels it at 30 all. Agassi lost only 4 matches this year after Wimbledon. Brett Stevens sidelined him in Washington. In Los Angeles, Jason Stoltenberg, who had a very good summer in the US, beat him. Then Jan Semmerink and the Music at changeovers beat him in New Haven. It's a great shot. He has a break point for Sampras. Now, after that came the US Open, and Agassi's only lost 1 match since then.
That's a better point from Sampras. He was patient until he got the forehand that he wanted, and it was the slice backhand that actually helped him in that point. He got it deep, and then it set up the forehand. It gives him his first break point opportunity. Now, if I was coaching Sampras there and was talking to him before the match, I would play a shot that he hasn't played here. If Agassi misses a first serve, I would chip and charge and let Agassi make the shot. If he doesn't, then I've got a break point. If he does, I'm back to square one and you start to work it. But you've got to come in with some prize elements in at this time of a match. The great players always have been able to do that. Fellas like Newcomb or Laver.
He got it. No
Great
slice
point.
for it, but pure power, and it was enough. Sampras with a break. First blood for him in the match.
Another tremendous forehand. It's two of the best rallies that he's played in this particular match. Look at that eye on the ball. The head doesn't move until he swings through the shot. He's going to be pretty happy with that result there. That's as animated as you're going to get, Sampras.
Hey, he knows how big this match is,
Oh, yeah.
Pete Sampras. I mean, this is a little early for Christmas, but
Guy's got a pretty good racket.
and this could very well be the heavyweight battle in men's tennis
For years.
for a long time. Exactly right.
He's got the line on that one.
This is a very important game here for Sampras. He's just achieved the break. Now he has to try and consolidate it. And it was the net cord there. Agassi in perfect position to make that passing shot. He was there very early because of his foot speed, and he had a choice of shots.
This event has lived up to its name, World Championship in Frankfurt this week. 45 weeks later.
See, this is exactly what Pete started to do in Paris a couple of weekends ago. He got up a break against Agassi in both sets and then started pressing too much on his first serve. Let Agassi back in.
There's another one.
That approach shot, if he doesn't come under the ball, really sets up for the pass, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, he can do that, but he's got to stop. He's not going through it. And watch what happens here. He makes this approach shot. He's got to stop. He's got to set himself, and then he's got to start to run. The slice approach, you approach it on the move, which gets you into a little bit better net position. But that one was short because of the topspin, and he paid the price.
Love 30. Not even close, double fault, and Agassi's got 3 break points to get back on serve.
That gets to exactly what Mary was saying happened a couple of weeks ago. When he gets that service break, he really has pressed in this game. He's tried to get into the net behind 2 approach shots with a very short, and went for a very excessive second serve there.
Yep, covered that one well, so he saves 1 break point. Looks like he broke a string in doing that, and he's going to change rackets. Yes.
Tell you what, if he did break a string and he plays 2 volleys with a broken string, this is a monumental effort for him.
He did indeed go change his racket. Still break point. Ace number 13 for Sampras.
Maybe each racket's only got a dozen aces in it. You have to go and get.
See, but if you are, you know, a good definition for confidence in a big server is not always going for the big one. You know, going for the 75% serve and trusting your volley.
Yeah.
Trust your volley.
This is a monumental point, this one.
Yeah, he's in trouble. Tilly, you can even hit it deep, and if it's not hard, Agassi is going to do what he did to that one. Hit it for a winner. The break back, they're on serve. It's 3-2 in the second. About the rivalry between these two.
The game really needs rivalries. I think the game was so popular with McEnroe and Connors. I think myself and Andre and Michael and Jim, if we can start playing each other in the semis and finals or slams and really play great matches, I think that's going to be great for the game. And Andre, it's definitely something a little special. I think he might even say that because our games are different, our personalities are different. We offer, you know, different lifestyles.
Pete's references to Michael and Jim, talking about Michael Chang and Jim Courier, of course.
Jim Courier now ranked 14 in the world. He's got a bit of gardening to do, as you would say, Fiery.
Yeah, he does have, but he's strong enough, and I think the will is there.
I'd love to see him back,
I think he'll be back. He's got too much talent not to be. We talked about champions. I mentioned, you know, they've got to have surprise elements at times. I mentioned fellas like Laver and Newcomb, a couple of the Australians, but of course the Connors and McEnroe that the boys just alluded to there, same thing. At different stages in a match, they could come with something different that would turn a match around.
40 love Agassi to get even here at 3 games all in the second.
But Mary made the point, Cliff, you know, with Pete, he had a service break in the same circumstances a couple of weeks ago, and he's done exactly the same thing again this week, apparently. And what he did, he pressed and tried to overplay things. They're the sort of experiences that you have to learn from. And he's a great champion, and that's something that his coach should remind him of, and that should not happen.
40-15.
I'd just like in this game, even though Sampras perhaps will lose this game, he's trying to press Agassi on his serve. He's trying to chip and charge come in. He got beaten on that last two points ago. But that's exactly what he's got to do, because Agassi's pressuring his serve all the time. Sampras has to go after the Agassi serve. Take some of the heat off his own.
Game point.
Oh.
That is long. Sampras loses the game, and it's 3 games all in the second.
Don't you feel that Pete Sampras and Steffi Graf really suffered through the same sort of year? Both of them seemed so unstoppable the first 5 months of the year. I mean, they both looked so good, and then they both got injured, and Steffi Graf, in fact, is in much worse shape than Sampras. Graf is now going to see a bunch of specialists, and she hopes very much to avoid back surgery. But these two, I mean, they rule. And it looked like they'd only lose a handful of matches all year.
As you said, they were unbeatable. He only lost 4 matches in the first 6 months.
3-all, second set, new balls with Sampras, and he rockets that one down at 194K.
Mentioning Jim Courier earlier, you know, he has not got to lose hard. He's a great player, and he is going to be back. Agassi hasn't been here the last 2 years. Now, not only is he here, but he's the #2 player in the world. And look, let's face it, if he has a good first half of the year next year, he could very easily be #1, because he's got so many points that he's accumulated here since Wimbledon.
He's got no points to defend, of course, in the first 3 months of 95, because he didn't play the first 3 months of 94.
Sampras averaging around about 118, 120 miles an hour on his first serves in this game.
A lot of help from the net. This clanking that you hear is because the net, I mean, however tight it is. Listen to this. You won't be able to hear it on the replay, but that's what's causing it.
Well, it happens on all indoor nets. It doesn't matter whether it's here or anywhere else, because they have that pipe that goes across the court that holds the net posts up. And when the net strap sort of clicks against that or clanks against it at the bottom, if it's, doesn't matter how tightly it's strung, that makes that noise on that pipe that goes across the court.
Why the net it's a very soft net. You get a lot of playable bounces off of a net cord, because it's, you know, there's only so, you can only get it so tight.
Not a playable serve there, as Sampras got his 15th ace. Make that 16. Players are going to change ends. 4-3. Sampras in the lead. On serve, though. Set 2, first set to Agassi. It's called the Masters. Edberg, Becker. Lendl 3 times. McEnroe a couple of times, going back to 1984. Agassi to serve. Trailing 3-4 second set, but he won the first.
Now we're going to see if Agassi presses a little bit here. Sampras is the game in front on serve, won the 7th game, pretty important game as the sets go.
It's his second double fault.
Agassi's serving percentages have gone down from about 75%, 73%. In this set, they're only at 44%. Not much you can do about this one, because it is a good first serve, and Sampras is there. Actually, he's there a little bit too early, and the racket gets through. So what becomes a brilliant shot, but a little unexpected, I would think, to play one like that. But he'll take it at this stage. Agassi is pressing because he served a double fault, and that was a very impatient stroke there. There was lots of heavy topspin on Sampras's backhand. Agassi tried to press from the baseline for a winner.
Break points for Sampras to go up 5-3. He hustled but missed.
Well, you know you're going to chase these ones down. This is a great return and not a solid volley because Agassi's not an expert at the net, but it serves the purpose. But watch this. Sampras, the champion that he is, knows that this can count if he can get there and make it. He gets there but cannot control the shot.
Break point, second serve.
Changed his mind. He was halfway in. He played the forehand exactly what he should have done, being aggressive. Took 2 steps forward and then 4 back, and it was the 4 back that caused the problems. He lost total control of the backhand, and he knows it.
Still break point. No, he missed it. Had it set up beautifully, had Agassi on the run, but didn't execute the shot.
Should he have been in, Fred? He's
Yep.
You'd much rather see Sampras taking it to
I'd rather
Agassi.
gone in there and let Agassi past him rather, because at that last one he looked at it and instead of playing the slice he thought, no, I'm going to try and hit this for a winner, and his feet were in the wrong position. That's the reason he missed it. He just didn't have the body in position to make that shot.
Love 40, now deuce. Oh, man.
And now a game point for Agassi to level the set. Sampras within 1 point 3 times of serving for the second set to even the match. So Agassi holds on, and this match is even at 4 games all. That is going to be a pivotal game. 3 of the 4 semi-finalists here in this tournament have already won the World Championship. Agassi did it in 90, Sampras in 91, and Becker on his birthday in 1992. It is Sergi Bruguera, who has never won it, to play in the semi-final against Becker after this match is over.
Well, that's got to be a disappointing game there for Sampras. And in this day and age, you're able to get copies of the films of what happens, the tapes of the matches that are played. And Coach Gullickson should get one of this and just let Sampras look at it and say, well, where do you think you made the mistake when you got the service break on the first occasion and when you had the opportunities here? The players are the ones that have to decide. But I'm sure that Sampras would be able to figure that out in a hurry looking at tapes of this match.
But I think Pete knows right now what he did wrong.
Exactly. But if you go over it with those things, that's the beauty of
great printout.
what is available out there now. This match is not over by any means. It's just that Sampras has squandered a number of chances. This is played to perfection, this drop volley.
Out of reach, 15 love Sampras.
Matches like this, though, when you got the number 1 and number 2 players, there's very few opportunities come about, and you've got to take them if you're going to win it.
Sarcasm in that remark from Agassi. Yes, I love it. He really didn't like it. 2 groups of 4. This whole World Championship started 45 weeks ago. Gathered points in 87 events, down to 8 players. Now it's semi-final day. 4 games all, second set. 2 top players in the world. First set, Agassi.
He has a good second serve, deep second serve, because Agassi was a good 6 feet inside that baseline. If it had been a short one, he'd have hammered it for a winner, but he just couldn't control it because of the depth. Had to have kicked off the line, that one.
Steers that one just wide. Still game points though for Sampras. When you have the chance that Sampras had in the last game on Agassi's serve at love 40 and you don't take it, takes the wind out of your sails, doesn't it?
You think about it, boy.
But he has a game point. And the game. 5-4, Sampras of the USA ahead of Agassi, but he lost the first set 6-4. More after this. 8 teams there in all, Saturday and Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time next weekend.
Sounds like I'm the only person not going.
Mary is really cut up about not going with us down there at Cliff too. It's really upsetting us. She would love to be down there and do that event.
I'll watch every moment of it. Big double fault there, a big miss from Agassi.
This is how the last game the Agassi service started. He served a double fault.
Yeah, they're both a little
press,
tight.
and maybe opportunity will knock a couple of times for Sampras.
Late call, but a correct one.
Yeah, it was made at the same time by the man in the chair, Rudy Berger, and the lines lady. He wanted to make sure that there was a call. There it is again. Look.
See all the Boris signs. Boris Becker, of course, plays in the second semi here today against Sergi Bruguera. This place will rock for that one.
How about that call on the replay? Looked like it
looked really close.
Slipped the line, in fact. That miss hit sends it wide, and we've got 30-15.
Well, a serve and volley. Now, look, that's the difference. Agassi on that particular point doesn't want to get under pressure, so he serves and volleys. That's probably the first time in this match that has happened, so that's what I'm alluding to. Surprises are going to come in. He serves and volleys and forces a return into the bottom of the net from Sampras to get himself out of the pressure situation. He's now leading 40-15 to get to 5-all.
They have both had 4 break point opportunities. But of course, Pete Sampras had 3 on Agassi's serve. Of them. So we are on serve in the second set. Agassi won the first. 5 games all.
Well, he's done this a couple of times during the match, and he's just barely missed, and this is the time to make one. He's hit it on 3 or 4 occasions, and that one right inside the baseline. All
These two played in the final of the US Open. If you remember, Back in 1990, it was won by Sampras against most pundits' predictions. It was won in 3 sets. That was Pete Sampras' first Grand Slam win. And he's the youngest ever to have won the Open. Oh, 15-30.
Sampras wants so badly to get those first serves in.
An unbelievable return, because the one before that went down the line at a
Exactly.
blistering pace. That one cross-court, so he's been able to read that serve out wide to the forehand, anticipate it more so than reading it on the big points. Here we are looking at a second serve after the guys just thumped your first serve fault for a winner. Also a bit of tactical play. We used to use that if you're in front and the guy served a fault, you thumped it and it went in and you hit it for a winner. And sometimes he thinks, well, God, I'm hitting a second serve now. Look what he's just done to that one and only barely missed the serve. It's a little mind game out there.
It's a guy thing.
30-all. Not happy with himself, and I'm not sure he's thinking about the point he just played. More like the one before when he made an unforced error and had a great chance to get a couple of break points. Game point now for Sampras.
Like to me? It looked like to me. It looked like to me as well. It looked like you? Yeah. It was a good call. Not clear when you stopped over me.
It could, yeah, I don't know. It can look as wide as you like from the chair, but I think on the replay you might find it hit the line. But I think he's a bit lucky because the return was out of reach from Sampras, a miss-hit return, so might have been a let-off.
Down the line, clean winner. Boy, muscled that one, and it looked as sweet as can be. We're on serve, 6-5, Sampras. Agassi will serve after a break. He was about to let it go, and then he thought, wait a second, he's going to be closer than what I first thought.
Yeah, then he couldn't have got to it. Look at this, he wants to hit it, then he's going to let it go. Now he checks it, and oh. Yes, a little deep. That's a terrific camera, that one on the baselines and on the service lines. It tells you all.
Another routine shot, I suppose you could say, but at such a critical stage, when he's got himself up low 15, hit that backhand like that, not even close. Oh boy, 15-all.
Out.
That was an overrule.
Yeah. What an overrule.
Sampras never even attempted to play it. I wonder if they show us that on the replay camera on that baseline.
I hope so. There it is.
Boy, that was out.
I don't know what he
No,
looked out.
it's on the...
There's space between the line and the mark.
No. Mistake there by Rudy Berger. Clipped the line.
You think you're the better kid than this guy, huh?
I don't think so, but he didn't call it. But what's wrong? If he doesn't call, I'm here to call it. If he doesn't.
Good. You're here to keep scoring, man. What are you talking about?
I'm with Agassi on this one. I think at 6-5 in the second set, on a call that close, I'm not convinced that a chair should be overruling something like this.
Well,
it was good. I mean, you can see it on that replay. There's no doubt about it. That ball was on the line. And he should not have overruled it. I'm not sure that replay machine...
Agassi's cursing now, not over the Sampras winner, but over the last point. He feels he got jobbed on.
Maybe it's too truthful. He did get jobbed on it. Set points for Sampras.
Agassi's trying to couch his cursing. Yeah. He could get in trouble.
Look at him. He's hot.
30-40. Just play and let me do my job. Not even close to the line. What do you want?
Oh boy, I'm not sure that I want to know how those calls go, because he really did. I mean, he really did get hurt here by that call from Berger on the overall. There's no doubt about it. Sampras still has got a set point. That is long. I mean, before you had the camera that tells you the absolute truth, you know, you could always say, well, gee, maybe he was right. Who really knows?
This is a bit upsetting for Sampras as well, though, because it's Sampras has got to keep his cool here. That one's way long, but Agassi, of course, is asking the questions to Berger now, and Sampras has got to try and keep his cool because he's just throwing opportunities down the drain here.
Deuce.
Sampras is playing the game now with the other linesman. He's got to keep his mind on the job there. If you've got a fellow that's complaining and hustling and yelling, hollering, you know he's worried about things. Concentrate a little harder. Put a little bit more pressure on him and let him come up with the goods when he's mad.
Set point for Sampras. This is his third. Shot from Agassi to get it low into Sampras, who is coming into the net, and this was a tough shot. Look at this.
Yeah, he decides to get in, but look where he plays that volley. It's from around that service line, and that again, folks, is caused because he's got to stop to play that topspin approach shot, and then he's got to make the move. If you're moving forward with a slice on there, he's another yard close to the net. But although having said that, this is a tremendous shot from Agassi to save this, but Sampras again was denied about 3 or 4 feet by this type of shot that he played.
Deuce. It was a defensive passing shot from Agassi as well, Fred, because he hit it with one hand, and he only does that when he doesn't get to the ball in time to hit the two-hander.
And he kept it very low. It was an excellent shot.
Game point now, Sam, for Agassi. Agassi escapes, and a tiebreak will determine the second set.
That's a tremendous effort from Andre Agassi. I mean, two games in this set. Pete Sampras really had his chances and just didn't step on Agassi's neck, and Agassi was able to calm himself down enough to really play percentage ball and force the issue.
He got a big first serve in on one of those occasions where he was madder than a cut snake. He was just abusing Rudy Berger, and everything, the hair on the back of his neck was standing up, and he fortunately got a big first serve in and deprived Sampras of getting into a rally when Agassi was annoyed, but a big effort on that set point to play that slice backhand.
28-8 for Sampras, so he has a better tiebreak record percentage-wise than Agassi, who's at 11-9. Tremendous tiebreak record percentage for Sampras.
Match by 1.
One point all in the tiebreak. First to 7 with a 2-point lead wins the set. If it's Agassi, he'll take the match as well. Agassi bangs one down in the corner. He's not going to get a warning for that, but he's close to a warning here from Rudy Berger.
Audible obscenities is where he's close for the warning.
Tim Gullickson is Sampras's coach.
Tournament director Jelko Franulovic. That's Jelko's wife sitting in front of him.
And Brad Gilbert.
Brad Gilbert.
Sampras. He had, that I can remember, 6 break-point chances in this set and didn't convert one of them, Pete Sampras. But now he's ahead in the tiebreak, 3-1.
Sampras was looking for a call here. I mean, Agassi, this one was very close to the baseline, to the sideline there, but I think it was on the line. So he just casually looked at Rudy Berger. He's had a bit of a run-in with Berger, of course, so he just keep antagonizing the man in the chair, and he's going to be in trouble.
Players are going to change end after 6 points. It's 4 points to 2 Sampras. Agassi will serve one more, then Sampras gets 2.
Quick reminder, speaking of challenging the chair, Goran Ivanisevic is in real danger of being suspended for 2 months. And
he's over the $10,000 limit for 12 months.
He's up to about 13 grand, yeah, in fact. And Mark Miles is right now reviewing things, and by the end of this weekend, he could be at, luckily for him, he would really only miss one ATP Tour event in Sydney, so he'd be eligible right back before the Australian Open, which is an ITF tournament anyway, not sanctioned by the ATP Tour. So this is a good time to be thrown out for 2 months, because this is the last official ATP Tour tournament of the year. Doubles, of course, in Jakarta next week. Got him.
That's fine, but it was the right play in my book. He had to put the pressure on, and Agassi comes up with the goods. But again, he plays that ball, the half volley played from behind that service line. That's not far enough in. All very well to criticize from up here, but these are the little technicalities that make the difference in matches. You get the serve and volley to make an effective volley has to be well inside that service line. If you're going to commit to do it, do it. Don't just get halfway in what they call no person's land nowadays. It used to be no man's land.
4-3 Sampras. 5-3 Sampras. Couple of points away from the set now for Pete Sampras.
Very beautiful motion on the serve. Right down the tee. You couldn't get it in any better spot than that one.
That's number 17, and again, he didn't have to go for the heat. He's staying calm. That's a good idea. It's 99 miles an hour, but it was well placed. That's what Sampras needs.
A lot more heat on that one down the middle.
Well, that other one was a second serve. 99 mile an hour, not bad.
Good angle, but Sampras got to it. And so, oh!
What a point. That's an unbelievable rally from both boys. They know what that point meant. Agassi thought he'd hit a winner. This is the volley that we've been talking about. It opens up the court, though. He stretches half volley. Beautifully played. Agassi gets to it. Sampras knows if he can hook it back, he's got the point down the line. And this brings the crowd to their feet. You'll see this one a few times because this shows just great athleticism by both players here.
Too tough.
Gilbert saying, well, what can I tell you?
Best point of the match, and look at his reaction. Set point. Hit, but it landed on the line.
Sampras does the right thing here. He puts the pressure on, makes sure of the approach shot, but just too good from Agassi. As Cliff said, he miscued it. Sampras thought it was going out. It was the topspin because of the mishit that brought it down inside that sideline. So Agassi survives.
Still set point for Sampras. He'll have another 2, including one on his serve if he doesn't win this point. That's long. Still set point Sampras.
I think Sampras has learned in this set he better take it when he's got it. He's missed a lot of big points.
He had his chances, including 3 set points that he did not convert. Sampras throws his racket in the direction of Rudy Berger. Agassi, I mean. But it's 1 set all in this match. We'll be back to Frankfurt after this. So Agassi and Rudy Berger were really going at it there. Agassi is very upset about that call that happened in the set where we showed it to you on the replay. Clearly, Agassi was right. It was an overrule by Rudy Berger in the chin. I'm telling you, he is hot about that. He threw his racket in the direction of Berger. It was also in the direction, fortunately, of his seat. So he wasn't, to my knowledge anyway, sanctioned. He hasn't been yet, but he's been so close.
He said, I just don't want you to overrule unless it's...
I can't have it anymore. Had enough from you. Just play.
Berger's warning him now. I've been waiting for Rudy Berger to throw a brushback pitch because Agassi really has gone at him and tried to antagonize him and put him in his place.
He got it.
He got it. See, this is going to be interesting now. I mean, if Agassi can use his anger, fuel himself with it.
It's a good pick-up here from Sampras, and it comes back, and it's a miss-hit volley. Sampras, then he sees that it's not going that fast, but it's past him. He can't get to it. Here's another look at it, folks. Picks this one up, hits it off the frame, and Pete thinks it's going to come back and hit him, and it just floats past him. There, look, it's actually a double hit. It's a carry, but that's legal.
Oh, yeah. Didn't used to be, but it is now.
You can hit the ball, touch the frame, and on the as long as it's only one swing, one continuous swing.
That's a winner. It's got to be unintentional also, which clearly that one was. Watch this again.
And the best running forehand in the game is Pete Sampras's.
15 all.
This is interesting now. We said at the stand-up that this was going to be a barn burner, and that's turned out to be because of a few arguments, and the ingredients of this match now set to make this third set a ripper.
Well, it really had to be, didn't it? I mean, how can you imagine you knew that Sampras was not going to run away with the match because Agassi's been returning serve too well. And on the other hand, you knew that Agassi had a shot from the first ball.
Well, Sampras sort of let him off the hook, and it was a very well fought second set.
Tell you what happens in the early stages of this set is important. Only one break of serve, make that in the first set, and only 2 in the second.
Boy, that forehand, he's getting more and more confident with that shot, Sampras.
Well, he's realised now he's in the match. He struggled, as you mentioned, very little tight when he had opportunities, and he let them slip. And we felt, okay, you don't get too many opportunities. Now he's all even. Confidence is built up, and now both players right at the height of their game, and both very confident, so a lot of great stroke make.
8th breakpoint chance for Sampras. He's only made 1.
Ace.
I tell you, that's a gutsy second serve. First game of the third set to be down a break point, because Sampras threatened him. Sampras stood outside the singles alley and dared him to serve down the middle, because sometimes that will commit. You draw a double fault. On that occasion, he hit right on the tape with an ace. Gutsy effort.
5 aces in the match. Against 17 for Sampras so far. Cannot help but play a good match because they're both just playing too well.
This is a well-played point, because Sampras had to come with some slices and some top spins, and both players the same. This one was the best one, though, that Sampras caught him right out of taut. Agassi had to take one hand off the racket and look for the forehand down the line that went away from him, behind him for the point.
Break point. First game, third set. Pete Sampras has the breaker serve. 1 game to love. Set 3. It's 1 set all. This is a semi-final of the World Championship.
Stinned up into the crowd, but he was given a code violation for hitting the ball at the chair umpire. Maybe it's been taken away, but there's the carry on that last one. There you can see on that
you said the
replay.
Chair umpire,
no, Rudy Berger gave him the deal for hitting it at the chair, at the lines judge.
Yeah. It's 15 love because he's lost a point, Agassi. So he was given a warning and then a point penalty.
Out, man. Next one's out.
The next sanction, the match is over against Agassi.
Now this is where Sampras really has to knuckle down. He knows he's got Agassi on the ropes mentally at the moment. He's very frustrated with Berger. He's not playing the tennis. It's not allowing him to concentrate his efforts inside those 4 lines out there on a singles court. Sampras must apply the pressure here and know that and feel that feeling and keep the pressure on Agassi.
40 love now for Sampras.
And Agassi's got to be a good boy for the rest of this match.
Exactly. He knows that one more point and he's in the showers.
The only time anyone's ever gotten tossed off of a match is, of course, John McEnroe. The Australian Open a couple of years ago.
And he forgot the rules. They were new rules. They were getting 4 violations instead of and then it was changed to 3 just prior to the Australian.
Which is where it's at now. And he's had 2 of them. 3 strikes and you're out now. And Agassi, as I said, the saddest part of all is that the call that started this whole thing was an incorrect call. He shouldn't have overruled it, Rudy Berger, and Agassi was dead right about being upset about the call, but not to the extent that he's got himself in such bad shape now.
It was a mistake to call, but that doesn't sort of give him license to start abusing chair umpires and people around the area. And I don't think, actually, I don't think he certainly meant to hit that ball at the lines judge. Either. Just frustration losing that set. He just turned around and whacked it down the court. He didn't direct it at the lines judge.
You know he didn't, Fred, because he hit it actually without looking where it was going. But you take your chances if you do that. Double fault, love 15.
He's
the wheels, yeah, the wheels could fall off here, Mary. Going off the boil now, and it's unfortunate thing is a call like that, and the altercations can certainly upset this match and take away from.
Worst part about it all is that technically this promised to be the most magnificent third set, and it's not going to turn out that way if Agassi takes a dive.
I don't think he'll take a dive, but it has certainly marred the quality of this match the last couple of games.
Yep.
15 all.
Agassi knows, though, the position that he's in, and he's just got to calm down, keep himself under control, and play his best tennis, because he is, as we mentioned, playing some of the best tennis of his career right now.
He is not going to complain anymore, Agassi, because he just doesn't have any more room to maneuver. 30 all. Break point for Sampras, and if he wins this point, it's going to break this set wide open. Agassi still has a shot, but I don't believe that he has a shot if he's 2 breaks down.
No, this is the game of this third set. He has to hold serve. I agree. And he's impatient because he's not even waiting for the crowd to settle down before he even starts the point right now.
Hit that one right back into Sampras, imagining that Sampras was going to make a move. He didn't, but as hard as Agassi hit it, he still didn't have time to make an effective swing at it. Try to hit it behind his back. No chance. Deuce.
That's the shot there. Sampras was leaning to his right to the forehand. Agassi drilled it right down the center. Agassi's taking a little more time now between points, toweling down, trying to calm himself. Sampras certainly has the edge now. You know, when you get very mad yourself, how long it takes just for you to take a few deep breaths and get a sort of back in control. Agassi has spent most of this game trying to do that by taking time, trying to relax a little bit more, and Sampras has smartly taken advantage of it.
Missed it. Oh, boy. On every swing now rests the outcome of this match, frankly. It's deuce. Game point for Agassi.
He's all right again now. He's got it back together. He has no other choice.
Game to Agassi. This match is still alive. 2 games to 1. Pete Sampras will serve with the break in the third set. Here in Frankfurt at the World Championship, 2 games to 1 for Pete Sampras, and he is serving. He's got a break in the third set. $15 love. He lost the first 6-4 to Agassi. He won the second after having had 3 set points before they got to the tiebreak. He eventually ran it out in the tiebreak, and now it's 2 games to 1 for Sampras in the third.
15 all.
That's a great swinging serve, that one, only 156 kilometres an hour. Not much on it, but out wide in the right spot.
Just under 100 miles an hour, about 97 miles an hour. Game points for Sampras.
This is where Mary talked about early. He's just got to have a good placement. That last one, 156k, 97 mile an hour. That one, a little bit more on it, but not his heavy serve, not the big one. There's the big one when he gets to 40-15, and you can have a crack at it and put the game away.
3 games to 1. Becker and Bruguera waiting in the wings. They'll be up next here in Frankfurt. The other semi-final, and the winner of this one will take on the winner of that.
Give those two boys a thought too, because they'd have been ready to come out towards the end of that second set.
4 p.m. tomorrow afternoon, best of 5 set final. Hope you'll join us for that. World Championship is at stake. And by the way, $650,000 more dollars. 320 at stake here today.
Could be a pretty big change of grip for Sampras. It's not a change of grip, but it's a change of where he has his wrist when he plays that, because when he plays the top spinner, he's got to start with the wrist out in front a little bit more. He's got to lay the wrist back a little bit more when he plays that slice. And he just doesn't, the slice he doesn't control as well as he used to, in my opinion.
It works, you know. He's won a couple of Wimbledons because you got to slice on grass.
Exactly.
It stays down nice and low and gets him into the net.
He practices that for a couple of weeks beforehand. Yeah.
Game points for Agassi here. 3-1 for Sampras in the set.
Same thing really is true of the great Graf slice, backhand slice, which is the reason she's won Wimbledon 5 times. She tries to come over the ball sometimes on other surfaces. Easy one for Agassi. Comfortable hold.
Sampras with a 3-2 lead. 1 set all. Sampras in this match really took a turn in the second set when Agassi got what he thought was a bad call. That was an overrule by Rudy Berger in the chair. He was right. It was a bad call, but he overheated himself. He lost the tiebreak. Then he lost the first game on serve in the third set. He's down a break. Sampras leading 3-2, in danger actually of being down 2 breaks here, but he was able to hold on.
Yeah, and he's back to normal now. He's got his act together again, as to speak. Fully composed again.
Back on the boil.
Back on the job.
So 15.
Sampras again going for a lot on that second serve. He's at service break in front. He's just got to play good, tight tennis now on his serve, not try and do anything irrational. If Agassi can break the Sampras serve, then it's too good, but don't give it to him. Double faults do not help.
Agassi won 1 slam this year, the US Open, and a couple of Super 9 events, one in Montreal and then the Paris Indoor. Sampras won 2 slams, started out winning the Australian and then won Wimbledon going away without any trouble, and he won 3 Super 9s, the first 2 in the US on hard courts, and then he won the Italian as well.
The only bad patch Agassi really had all year once he came back was the clay court season. He had a rough time of it. He said, I didn't do well He said, I managed to put aside all the struggles and keep going. He says, I think that's something that that had gotten the best of me in the past.
Sampras has served 19 aces to Agassi's 6 in this match so far.
Game point to Sampras. Agassi's been in the French final twice. He's never won it.
And both times he was really favored to win it.
Against Courier and
Andres
Gomez.
Right. And he was favored to beat Sampras in the 1990 U.S. Open final because he'd had the Grand Slam experience.
Wanting a call on that second serve, but he does not get it, and it's Sampras who holds on 4-2.
And he didn't argue with Rudy Berger either. He just took the call, and it's the game now to Sampras. It's 4-2, and Agassi talking to himself.
Yeah, he's not out of this match.
No.
Except that Sampras has only dropped 2 points in his serve in this set. That's his problem. One of them a double fault. 15 love, but he's still not out of it. Broke Sampras in the first game of the match, and then he broke him in the second set as well. They traded breaks in the second. But time's running out.
This is just the type of game that Agassi wants. This stage of a match, he's looking for a cheap game here. This is where Sampras, if he made him work, fight a little bit more for this game. And the cheap game here is just what the doctor ordered for Agassi. An easy one. He can go back and he can have a crack at this next service game. Still down a break. 4-3 in the third set.
Defeated Pete Sampras on the way to the final, conquered Rosset in 4 sets. With the title came the #2 ranking in the world, the highest of his career.
Agassi also won in Vienna. He won the US Open. In fact, he's only lost 1 match in the latter part of the year. And that was in Stockholm to Goran Ivanisevic. He couldn't have been closer. Tiebreaker in the 3rd set.
The way Agassi was in the first set. Sampras taking his time, choice of balls to serve with. You get the one that looks as though has travelled through the air the fastest, the one with the least amount of wear and tear on it. The felt on the tennis balls get a little fluffy. The players have a look at them, and with the velocity of Sampras's serve, he picks the one that's not as fluffy, so it goes through the air a lot quicker.
That one went through the air at about 112 miles an hour. He can get a lot more out of the serve if he wants to. '20th ace.
Gives you an idea of how far forward the top players, when they serve and volley, throw that ball. It's a good 2 or 3 feet into the court, and they lean on it.
Game points for Sampras to get to 5-3. .40-30.
Pete Sampras.
Sampras holds on. It's 5 games to 3. He's 1 game away from a place in the World Championship final to play against the winner of the Becker-Bruguera match. 3 of the top 4 players in the world got to the semi-finals. Only Goran Ivanisevic didn't make it, and it was at the expense of, at least Becker got in there at number 5. Just so you know, Becker will be in the top 4 when this thing is over, in all probability. Low 15. Closes in well on that one, 15 all.
Takes the opportunity to make the move to the net after that good approach, and technically Agassi volleys well on that high one. Look at that good firm wrist, lets the head of the racket stay above the net till he finishes the shot.
Sampras doing what I think he should have been doing more of all match long. That's coming in and pressing the issue.
Well, he started off by rolling that shot, and then having a bit of a go at a forehand, didn't he? And then saying, Agassi, well, you've got to pass me. So Brad Gilbert now a little concerned.
That thing could just as easily have crept over as it did, which should stay on his side. Watch this.
Good aggressive point from Agassi. He didn't back off, but as you mentioned, that one there, look, it kicked up and hit the net for the 2nd time and then bounced back to Agassi. There it goes, hits the net again, comes down and on the other side of the net.
Pete Sampras a match point.
Played that well. Coach Tim Gullickson there, got to be proud of that. Some terrific forehands, and it was the slice backhand that gave him enough time to get himself set to say, okay, I'm going to hit this one.
Got the line. Throws caution to the winds and goes for the big one. Friend at work.
Well, both these players are champions, Cliff, and this is what makes champions. When your back's to the wall, you don't play defensive tennis, you stay in there. And boy, that one was 2 inches inside that sideline. If it had been a few inches the other way, this would have been history. But we're back to deuce. Another fine point from Sampras. It was the depth of the forehand return that set up the chance to get into the net on his terms.
2nd match point. It is over, and Pete Sampras will play the final. You would have to say, though, Fred, that win of Sampras's, some of the edge taken off it, as Sampras is, or I should say Agassi, is still talking to Rudy Berger. And that really affected the outcome of the match.
Yeah, some of the shine taken off that victory for Sampras. You know, both players have done very well through the round-robin competition. This is a match we expected to be a good one. It was. There was an overrule that was unfortunate for Agassi. He never forgot it. It did put him off as far as his tennis was concerned in the early stages of the second set, and he given a point penalty. But you got to give Pete Sampras the victory. A W is a W, and he's into the final, and he's played some pretty good tennis.
He is the top player in the world. He wins it in 3 sets. Coming up next, it'll be Becker and Bruguera. When we come back, Mary Carrillo will talk to Pete Sampras.